League football is back and we can't wait to get stuck into this weekend. We're going to be giving 6 picks from Saturday the 22nd of November. You're going to have 2 of them in France La Ligue. We've got 1 in the Belgium Jupiler League. We've got 1 in the Swiss Super League and we've also got 1 in Italy Serie A. During the international break, we've been going through the statistics, so hopefully we can find some advantages. Without further ado, let's crack on. So let's kick it off with the English Premier League match between Brighton and Brentford. For those of you who don't know, both of these clubs are owned by professional gamblers, people who made millions from sports betting. So that's Tony Bloom for Brighton and Matthew Benham of Brentford. Now, interestingly, Benham started off by working for Bloom, so a lot of rivalry between these two clubs. And we've got to say, Brentford have been getting the upper hand in that rivalry. But we do think there's going to be a turnaround today. Brighton, 3-2-0 at home. They've beaten Newcastle. They've beaten Manchester City. Danny Welbeck is absolutely on fire. The coach, Fabian Hürzeler, is really learning to get the best out of this team. And we started expecting them to advance now. As far as Brentford go, they lost their coach during the summer. They replaced him with Keith Andrew, right? Everybody was expecting problems for them. They have been performing well when they've been playing at home. It's just that they haven't been doing it on the road. In fact, they're just 1-0-4 when playing away. And while they beat Newcastle in the last round, we have to say they did benefit from their opponents getting a red card. It was 1-1 at the time. They won that match 3-1 in the end. It was a great result all the same, but in reality, this club does lack something. They don't have the players that Brighton do. And if we look actually at the finances of the club, the money that's been invested on new players, you can see Brighton are going year in, year out, improving this squad, whereas Brentford, we're not too sure about that. Now, Brighton are the home team and they're going to be really pumped up for this match, and that's why we see odds of 1.99 as more than fair. So if we switch over to Italy Serie A, we're going to be betting on the match between Fiorentina and Juventus. So that's the bottom club against the 6th. Now Fiorentina, they haven't won any of the 11 games in the league this season. So the consequence of that is a new coach. Paulo Vinolis took over before the last match, which they incidentally drew 2-2 against Genoa. Now the coach has had the international break to sort things out, and he does have 27 of his 30-player squad available for this match, so he's going to have no excuses. But at the end of the day, this club are nothing special. If you have a look at them, they were selling players during the summer, and that's been costing them. This is not an ambitious club, and that's why we think they are going to be there to beat today. Now, as far as Juventus go, they also changed their manager, not happy with the results. They're only 5 points behind the league leaders in 6th place, so no big deal there. They've still got time. Luciano Spalletti is a very good coach. He joined at the end of October, so hopefully he can get things together. And just a quick look through the squad, see that Juventus, the old lady, have got plenty of strength in depth. Now, playing away against a club, who are needing points and have got home advantage is always going to be a bit of a tricky one, but we do see Juventus, they've got bigger ambition, they've got the better players. Odds of 2.08. That is more than fair. Trust the old lady to get all 3 points from this. So if we go over to France La Ligue, we're going to be making 2 bets here, but we're going to start off with the match between Rennes and Monaco. So that's the 8th against the 6th. Just 2 points separate the two clubs in the league table. Now, we should start by saying Rennes come into this on the back of winning their last 2 games, and one of them was against Racing Strasbourg. And not only did they win that match, they won it actually by 4-1. So, it was literally a thrashing of what is deemed a very good club, right? So that must have given them a lot of confidence. Now, when they're playing at Roazhan Park, Ababea's team, they are particularly strong. He's got all 22 men available for this match, and that's why we think they're going to be very tough to stop. Now, as far as Monaco go, they did cash in close to 100 million during the summer, and that's why they're probably struggling for players right now. They've got quite a few injured, and not only that, they've appointed a new manager recently. Sebastian Pognoli came in on the 11th of October, and since then we haven't noticed any great big difference in the club. They haven't really been improving. Now, they are missing a couple of players, including Camara, who's vital for this team, we think. And even though they won this fixture twice last season, I actually think that they're going to have much chance against Rennes today. As far as the bets go, we're going to be betting the draw no bet, favourable odds 210, so we're getting above the even money marker, which is great value in our opinion for the home team. So Rennes it is for us. Our second game in France Ligue is between Nice and Marseille, so a South Coast derby. Now Nice are 5-2-5 as it stands. They're 12th in the table and they're 4-1-1 at home. So that does suggest that they're particularly strong when they're playing at the Alliance Riviera. However, we see them as beatable in this game. Before the season started, if you watched our show, we mentioned that we thought Nice would struggle this season. And the reason for that was they sold a lot of players. In fact, they cashed in 78 million during the summer transfer season, and they didn't really replace any of the top players that left. And that's why you're just seeing them there stuck in the mid-table. Now, while Les Aiglons won this match last season 2-0, they did lose the reverse game, and we are seeing a Marseille that have improved again. Now, they've got some significant players, including Mason Greenwood. We've got to say also that in the last round, following a little bit of a sort of lull in their form, they did absolutely stuff Brest. We thought they looked particularly strong that day, and it just showed you what they can do. Now, normally they can be trusted to travel well. Even though they're only 3-0-3 this season, we do imagine that they're going to be soothed by playing on what is a big pitch. Now, if you've looked at the Alliance Riviera, then you will know that there's always spaces there to exploit, and Marseille have got the players to do that. We should also point out that for the visitors, Garcia's back from his red card, and Facundo Medina is also available again. So they're going to have two players back. That's going to make the team even stronger again, and that's why we see this as a must bet. We think Marseille, odds of 1.99, more than fair. We're going to be getting stuck in Marseille. Now, one of our biggest bets this weekend is going to be in the Swiss Super League, and that is on the match between Lucerne and Servette. Now, this is the 7th against the 10th, so automatically you are thinking that the 7th team playing at home, massive advantage. But the thing is, Lucerne, right, they've taken just 6 points at home. They're not particularly good when playing in front of their own spectators, and you see why when you actually start watching them. Once they get a little bit nervous, the actual spectators are on their backs, right? So Lucerne, when they're playing at home, this is nothing new. They are there to be beaten. We should also mention that in the last round, they were leading 2-0 and they finished up losing against FC Zurich, which is a pretty poor team, 3-2. Now, they did get a player sent off in that game, and unfortunately, Tazay Ebe is going to be missing for today. He's suspended, right? So the visitors, as far as they go, very unfortunate not to beat Thun and to lose it in the late stages of that game. That was just like adding insult to injury, right? They were much better than the league leaders. Before that, we've seen a couple of good results from Servette, the Geneva-based club. They've beaten Lugano. They absolutely stuffed Winterthur. And under this coach, Jocelyn Gourvenac, we do think that they've actually got the potential to get up that table pretty quickly. So even at this stage, being 3 points behind Lucerne, they can square that today and then go on before the winter break and then push on obviously after the winter break. We're expecting Servette there to be in the top 4 by the end of the season. Lucerne definitely not. This is a great bet. We're going to be betting a draw no bet on a team that's got a very good record in this stadium. Servette 2.01, fantastic odds. Now, one of our top performing leagues for many years is Belgium Jupiler. We win every season here and we expect this season to be no different. We are ahead, so we've been looking deeply at the stats, the data of this league during the break, and we can see one thing that sort of stands out, and that is that there's just 2.56 goals per game this season. That's all the averages going on. So you can see where I'm going to be heading with this game, and that's between Westerlo and Ghent. Now, if you look at the visitors, they actually do tend to score quite a few goals when they're travelling. They're currently 5th in the league with 21 points, and under Ivan Leko, this is an attacking team. But we've got to say, when you start going to Westerlo, things are not easy. Even though Westerlo tend to play open football when they're playing away, at home, the Kempfenen are something different. Now, we should mention that they just 3-1-3 at home, but in those games, there was only 14 goals scored. So that's an average of 2 per game, right? So if you consider that, you can see how they actually do close teams down and make it very difficult. We should also mention that the last 6 matches concerning Westerlo ended with under 2.5 goals. Now, you could be betting 2.5 goals in this game, but we're thinking, to go with the Asian handicap, which is 3 goals, which means if actual match finishes on 3 goals, you get what they call a push. That means you get your money back. That's how betting goes in Asia. So we're going to recommend the actual under 3 goals with the safety net of getting our money back. If it does land on 3, right, you can do whatever you wish to with it. Obviously, you're obviously betting different if you're into the sort of shop scene or the leisure bookmakers. But this is how professionals bet. We tend to be betting Asian handicaps, and we can see odds of 1.95 on this match. We find that more than fair. So that's our 6. Hopefully you've got a bit out of it. You understand how we are picking our bets, what we're concentrating on, and hopefully it's a learning process. Now, we do have a lot on this channel to help teach you to bet stronger. So do go through the rest of the channel, do go through the tutorials, because they're going to help you get more out of sports betting. I should also quickly mention, if you are betting, you've got to make sure that you work hard on getting those very best odds. This is ultra important to your bottom line. You keep finding the best odds possible, you're going to finish ahead. That's the secret to sports betting. We're going to catch us in the next one soon. Take care for now. Bye bye.